Where'd my good purple hat go?
Welcome back to the Mythic Hammer. Today's episode is called The Closet, the Chest, and the Wardrobe. And if that sounds oddly domestic for a dungeon crawler, don't worry, it'll make sense in a second. Because today, we're talking about loadouts, weapons, exo points, cosmetics, and how all of those things exist in Dungeons of Eternity. Just not quite together yet. Here's the thing. DOE actually has the bones of a really strong build system. Weapons feel distinct. Exosuit perks meaningfully change how you play. Cosmetics are expressive and plentiful. There's a lot here to like. But right now, those systems feel like they live in different rooms of the house. Weapons have their own space. Exosuit perks live somewhere else. Cosmetics and flair are off doing their own thing. And that separation shows up most clearly right before a run starts. Everyone's standing there, ready to go, and someone realizes they want to switch roles or try something different. Not because they planned poorly, but because the dungeon, the modifiers, or the group composition changed. That's when the friction becomes visible. Not during theory crafting, but during momentum. And if you're the kind of player who likes to switch builds, solo runs, co-op support, higher hazard tiers, experimental builds, or just, let's try something weird tonight, that process has a bit more friction than it probably needs. Not because anything is broken, just because it's fragmented. Right now, what we call a loadout is really just 3 weapon presets. Useful, absolutely, but incomplete. Your exosuit perks, which define how you move and fight, are saved separately. And cosmetics, those are adjusted piece by piece, every time. That separation also makes builds harder to read, especially when you're still learning the game. When weapons, perks, and visuals aren't tied together, it's harder to understand why your character feels different from run to run. A unified loadout doesn't simplify the game, it clarifies it. It makes cause and effect more obvious. And to be clear, the cosmetic system itself is great. There's a surprising amount of expression in there. Armor pieces, colors, accessories, flair, victory animations, even thumbnail expressions. Yes, thumbnail expressions, which is genuinely fun, and also kind of illustrates the point. We have a lot of stuff, we just don't have a way to package it together. That's where the title metaphor comes in. Right now, DOE has a closet, a chest, and a wardrobe, but you can't save an outfit. You can store weapons, you can store perks, you can customize your look, but you can't say, this is build A, mechanics and fashion included. And when builds aren't easy to save, experimentation quietly drops off. Not because people don't want to try new things, but because switching back takes effort. That's the moment where curiosity competes with convenience, and convenience usually wins. And that matters more than it sounds like it should, because experimentation isn't just about trying a new perk, it's about trying a new identity, a new playstyle, a new vibe. And when switching back and forth takes several steps, a lot of players, understandably, stick with what they know. So here's the proposed fix. And the good news is, it's simple, and it builds on what already exists. First, instead of separate exosuit customization save slots, fold those perks into the loadout system. Not because customization is bad, but because splitting saves across systems creates unnecessary friction. Second, Promote loadouts to be true build slots. Each loadout should save your weapons, your exosuit perks, your cosmetics, and your flair. One slot, one build, one identity. So when you select Loadout 1, you're not just equipping 3 weapons, you're stepping into a role. And that role clarity can matter greatly in co-op, especially in quick joins. When builds have consistent looks, teams can instantly recognize intent, support, control, damage, chaos, without a word being spoken. That's not about optimization, that's about flow. Third, add more loadout slots. 3 works as a starting point, but DOE already encourages experimentation. More slots means more freedom to play around without overwriting something you like. And if you do this, you solve 2 problems at the same time. Mechanically, switching builds becomes fast and intuitive. Creatively, builds can have themes. A fast aggressive setup can look fast and aggressive. A tanky co-op build can visually communicate that role. And if you've got a chaos run build, you can absolutely dress for the occasion. This also future-proofs the system. As more perks, weapons, and cosmetics are added, a unified loadout model scales cleanly. You're expanding a framework players already understand, instead of layering on new menus. That's the part that often gets overlooked. Fashion is gameplay adjacent, not because it changes numbers, but because it changes how connected you feel to what you're playing. So yeah, the closet, the chest, the wardrobe, Dungeons of Eternity already has all 3. Now it just needs the feature that lets them work together. Let me save the outfit. Let me save the build. Let me save the identity. Drop your wish list below. How many loadout slots would feel right to you? And if cosmetics were tied to loadouts, what would your signature builds look like? Stay tuned for the kill of the week, and as always, keep it mythic.
Kill of the week.